Hello everybody and welcome back once again to Let's Play Crusader Kings 2 with King Senred of England. Yes indeed. It pains me that I can no longer say King Johan. I like that guy, you know. Right. Well, unfortunately the chroniclers have confirmed the tragedy that has struck. For perhaps the greatest king that this country will ever see for a long time. His demise was comically heinous. Comically heinous. For the one person that he thought he could trust in this entire realm, in this entire world, a daughter-in-law really, but a daughter that he saw her as, who he had taught virtues, gave spiritual guidance, taught her to walk the path. She had took his teachings to heart and pursued ousting cynics from her land and walking the path that he taught her. They embraced many times in her castle here in Thetford, embraced with smiles and hugs. He gifted her the Duchy of Essex for her efforts. There was no less likely person to want to stab him in the back, as far as he was concerned. But in a strange twist, which the bards will be singing about, I'm sure, before too much longer, that one person, in a paranoid state of mind, conjured up some kind of foolishness in her head that Senred Jr. was a threat to her own child and she wanted that threat gone. And so she plotted to kill the child. And when the king had returned with a holy lance, a holy lance, a royal spear of the cross gifted to him by the Pope himself for his successful contribution to the crusade in Aquitaine. When he came back with a most holy relic, he found out about this plot and knew what he must do. Duchess Ealhswith evaded arrest and took to the field of battle, raised her banners and swords against her father-in-law, and that was a slight he could not take. It was the final tipping point. And despite the protestations of Charles the Proud, the king took to the field himself, wielding his new holy lance, for he was now on horseback, having been persuaded not to take the front lines in his old age. It suited him fine, a better place to wield this holy relic which would provide the troops with an almighty morale. A crusading hero wielding a pope's blessed weapon. And unfortunately, due to the increased amount of wine he was consuming, due to the betrayal he had suffered, he was not sound of mind and body. He fell from his horse, came crashing to the floor when his charge hurtled head first into the throng. His lance clattering to the floor with him. He rose to his feet, spitting out blood. His vision clouded, but not a mortal wound. Wounded pride, more like it. But somehow, in the foray, the confusion, his men allowed the enemy leader, the Duchess herself, within 2 feet of the king of the country. She couldn't believe her eyes when she saw her new enemy kneeling before her, back to her, undefended. It was a sad day for all, including her, for she bore him no real ill will. but she feared his justice. The king was known to be merciless in his pursuit of justice for those who committed sins and treasons, and this was a way to sway the tide of battle and for her to keep her lands and titles. And so with a great heavy heart, she picked up the holy weapon and thrust it through the king's back, snuffing out his life. And so in a strange twist of fate, the most holy, great man this country had ever seen was slain by his own holy relic, recently acquired by his own daughter-in-law, the woman he trusted most. Go sing about that in your taverns. So now we turn to this man, King Senred of England. Right, I've only got a short amount of time. I've come home from work late unexpectedly, and so rather than give you nothing today, I thought I'd give you something, a quick overview of Senred, a quick setup with what we can do at the moment without imposing it in preparation for the next session, and a very quick rundown as to how I see Senred being as a person, at least at the start, because he will develop as the events unfold during his reign. He'll probably change and adapt to the events that happen. But as things currently stand, here he is, King Senred of England, as we well know, seducer, sleeping around, recently got a woman pregnant, and she's trying to convince her husband to keep shut his mouth. So that's going to be an issue to dodge to start with. But let's look at his traits before we address anything else. He was taught by his father many virtues: diligence, temperance, charitable, humble, just as well. He's going to be a good ruler. There's no two ways about it. There's no other way to look at it. He is going to carry on what he was taught by his father. He's going to try his best to rule well. He's not stupid. He saw how his father was revered for his actions. But I'm going to call him a poor man's Johann, because he's going to be very similar, but he's not going to be doing things quite to the nth degree when it comes to religious matters. Because how can somebody declare themselves as zealous if they are committing a sin, breaking one of the commandments and sleeping around as much as he does? They can't. So his zealousness is waning. His religious devoutness is waning. But he will always be religious. It's just that not quite to the degree that his father was. But that's not to say that he won't continue his father's work, because he wants people to see him as a continuation of his father, to ensure that things run as smoothly as possible. So to assist in the transition period, we are going to actually switch him to rulership focus to start with. He's in charge now of the country. It's new to him. He wants to focus, diligent on all that, on being a good ruler, to ensure that smooth transition, to convince the people that he's here to do a good job. And then, when their guards have been lowered and he's got this thing down pat, then the fun and games will start once again, and as a king of the country he'll have his pick of the ladies. He can't wait for that. So that's how I see him being. And in order to ensure that people continue to see him as his father's son, a continuation of the same, he's going to follow in his father's footsteps with certain things. He's going to continue to oversee the construction of the Grand Cathedral. Even though he didn't commission it, he's going to, wherever he can, remind people that I am continuing to ensure that this project is completed. I am doing, the work laid down by my father. I am his son. Continue to support me. He is going to construct here in his own holding, the Isle of Man, a temple, like his father did. He built temples in Leeds and Hull, and I too shall build a temple. So there's that as well. And he will be crowned by the Pope, for the Pope will probably ask for some money like his father. And if not, he may even ask for papal investiture, which we're more than happy to allow him. And then when we are crowned by the Pope, like our father, that will cement in the minds of the people that we are truly our father's son. And we will have their complete trust. And then at that point, any slanders about us sleeping with women will never be believed. Oh no. So that's how I see things going. Good ruler, a fair ruler, a just ruler, which is very important when it comes to dealing with Aelfgith, because it would be very easy to try to go really too far with her when it comes to dealing with her if we imprison her. Having, you know, the fact that she's killed our father and was plotting to kill our son, it would be very tempting to really go woohoo and whatever we need to do. But he's a just man, and so he will deal justice in order with what the laws of the land decree. But yeah, poor man's Johann. Zealous, fading. Crusader is as it is. Mastermind theologian, okay. Shiners, no. This is a ruse. This is a ploy to try to deflect away from the fact that he's doing what he's doing. How would a shy man be able to sleep with so many women? I mean, I can barely look at them without blushing, he says. Combine that with the fact that I'm very busy running the country. I haven't got time to be sleeping around. And I'm crowned by the Pope, and I am continuing my father's work. I am just as holy as him. Would I sleep around with women? No. Lies. Lies and slanders. So he is a poor man's Johann, a watered down Johann with a major vice. Okay. So when it comes to matters of cynics, they can rejoice. He won't be pursuing cynics like his father did. But when it comes to serious religious matters such as crusades, jihads, infidels, pagans, and that kind of stuff, he will be just as zealous. But when it comes to kind of minor sort of mystics, cynics, a couple of vices here and there in character traits, he's going to be much more less inclined to do what his father did in punishing them. I say punish, we don't punish, we exact justice. So yeah, a watered down version. So it's going to be quite similar, but with a subtle difference or two. Okay, so let's fly through the old tabs then, just to get a couple of things set up before we can start the session next time without any sort of chitty chatty. Let's do all the chitty chattying now, why don't we? So King Senrid, here he is, blah blah. Son, we need to teach our son now. It's doubly important that we do, to ensure that he has the best possible upbringing. Yeah, we're going to certainly, hopefully not teach him the art of seduction. Right, and similarly, teach our youngest son. In a strange twist, it was noticed that our unfaithful queen is also an adulteress. A mutual agreement. The medieval version of an open relationship, it seems. He sleeps around, she knows about it. She sleeps around, he knows about it. They keep each other's secrets. What more do you need to say? We've had 2 kids, we're enjoying our lives. To hell with everybody else. Vassal opinion. Like his father, not quite as high, but still all positive, which is good to see. And with his impending actions, I'm sure that will only increase for his 5 years of rulership focus, and then it's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Mostly positive with the court, a few negatives, we'll go through those in more detail next time, but I think there's nobody really of importance that doesn't like us for us to be worried about. Council members, Marshal, there's a couple of dukes that require a position on the council, and because we're new, we'll kind of give them that role just to help keep things nice and smooth. So, Marshal there, Steward there, and that further helps out the older situation of our early days of rule. Can't change any laws, but we can vote for a successor. Now, like our father, continuing in our father's footsteps and all that kind of stuff again, trying to convince the people we're just a continuation of the same. Like him, we will be picking the best man for the job. And that won't be a child. So whoever is best on this list will be picked, but I'll have to do that and look through next time. Although this guy right here is a crusader, is strong, is zealous, is chaste, is stressed and shut. He's straight away standing out. Let's just continue up this line. Oh, there's one here that's quite good, although deceitful. Oh, it's her. Oh my god. I can't believe I stopped on her. It's not even close, is it? It's not even close. There you go. There's your next king of the country if we were to fall down. But I will say this. We are more likely than our father to put our son on the throne just because he's our son. He has to have some modicum of skill, some religious value. He's got a virtuous, it's a good start. He's got to show some promise to kind of vote against a man that is so very, very noble that we've just made heir. But yeah, if he's even semi-competent, if it's even close, and he's not quite the best man, unlike our father who would be right down the line and give it to the best person for the job, we would be more likely to kind of try to wangle it, but only if it's close. If it's not even a contest, and this guy is way better than our sons, we'll be hard pressed to change our vote. But for the time being, this man, he's looking pretty damn good, it must be said. Duke Beatmar of Somerset. Good job, sir. So that's that sorted. Military wise, in ode, and again another way to win over the people and win over the vassals. In ode to his father, we are going to finally start the recruitment of a standing army. Johann's holy Hussars. He liked to lead from the front. He was an infantry commander. He was always seen, apart from his last battle, where he took to a horse and it was his undoing. He always was at the front of the fight with his infantrymen. And so in his honour, Johann's holy Hussars will be recruited in numbers to be a standing force for when the country needs them. His name will always live on somewhere. And then once all of that is done, this fight is finished, we've got our coronation and the land is settled once more. A holy tournament in our father's memory. A grand tournament to surpass all tournaments will be held in our father's honour. Like our father, the Pope loves us. So that's a good start. And when it comes to societies, as we finish off, we ain't going to be in one. For being under the prying eyes of monks and other types that are members of these kind of places, it's too risky. He'd feel watched. And plus he's a king. He's very busy. That's his excuse. But really he doesn't want to run the risk of some nosy Parker finding out about his extracurricular activities. So there you go. So a very quick whistle stop tour. I do apologise, but you know, got to rush off today. Thought I'd give you something. So we've done everything that we need to now. Very quickly there. I think, yeah, everything's pretty much done. So in the next session we can start straight away. Finish this war. Deal with this woman. Justly and fairly. But nonetheless there will be consequences. And then we continue on the early years of Senra's reign. Long may he reign. Or not. Let's see what God's got in store for him. Until next time, see you soon.